Owen Thomas Carlock, Fire Department, New York, 9/11. Owen's one of my World Trade Center survivors back in 2001. Everybody remembers where they were on that day. It's kind of like our Pearl Harbor. And Owen told me a great story. He's never really sat down and told me a story. He came with Steve Graber and John Germain to the interview in Elizabeth, New Jersey, August 22nd, 2011, when I interviewed him. A little bit hesitant, but he opens up and tells his story. Didn't consider himself a veteran of serving this country, but I do. And Owen, I thank you for your service and your family for what you've done. Owen was assigned to Ladder 122 out of Brooklyn, and he responded, I think it might have been the 5th alarm, to the South Tower on 9/11, and he and Steve Graber and John Germain and a few others tell the story. It'd be interesting if I can interview the other gentlemen. I don't know who they were, but that would be a thought that I would like to possibly pursue going forward. But Owen, we lost him in 2012, only 9 months after my interview with him. He passed away in 2012 at the age of 58. Left behind his wife, his 3 kids and grandkids, and it's a sad story, but I believe Owen's in heaven with John Germain and looking down on us. So, but I want to honor Owen today with this interview. Like I said, he served for 23 years, 1981 to 2004, and I found out that his grandfather, Bernardo Carlock, died in the line of duty as a department chief in New York City in 1930. So I didn't know that. So we honor the Carlock family today on this broadcast. I want to thank John Germain Jr. for sponsoring Owen's story. He came forward and said he would do this, and I'm so thankful, John. John's father, John Germain Sr., was at 9/11. He's featured on this channel. A lot of you have seen his story, along with Steve Graber. So these are part of my family. This is my extended family from the military stories. And John, I thank you for stepping forward and honoring Owen in this broadcast. I'm really grateful. I haven't met you in person. I will, though. I know I will. The spirit of your dad lives in you, and I just am so grateful for you and your dedication to my work and these projects that I'm working on, and it's a thrill to work with you. So thank you again. On behalf of the Carlock family, too, thank you. Folks, we'll leave it at that for now. If you want to help become a part of my work, there's information on the video description and in the comment section of my videos and on my website, larrycappetta.com. But I just want to get into Owen's story. It's not a real long interview, but it's there and it's powerful. And it'd be great to hear from you. Leave a comment in the comment section. As we get closer to the 23rd anniversary of 9/11, I'm going to feature some more of these stories. So we're going to need to honor these people. To me, that was a war zone, absolute war zone, and they fought together, whether they think they did or not. Folks, to me, they're heroes in my eyes, and I just love these guys, Steve and John and Owen. And just going forward, I just want to share these stories with our younger generation, because this is history being made back then. They didn't realize it, just like our Pearl Harbor many years ago. We really need to honor them. So let's sit back and invite your family to watch Owen's story, and like I said, leave a comment. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and share this story. God bless you. spell your first and last name for me.
First name is Owen, O-W-E-N, Carlock, C-A-R-L-O-C-K.
And what engine company, lighter company were you with 10 years ago?
I was assigned to 122 truck. I was late. The guy who had the detail to the engine took my detail, took my spot in the truck, and I rode with the engine 220.
Okay, so on the screen, when I'm underneath your name, I'm going to put engine 220?
Ladder 122.
Ladder 122?
That's my assigned company.
And you're a firefighter?
Fireman.
Fireman, okay.
Not firefighter. I was hired on the fireman.
Okay, okay. Now, am I putting firefighter for you? Or want to put fireman?
What are you going with, Owen?
I took the test as a fireman.
I'll go with that.
I'm not
Okay, so I'm
politically
gonna put
correct.
fireman. I'm gonna put fireman.
See, that was, when the women came on the job, they went from fireman to firefighter.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so I just,
That's good enough.
He's a firefighting man.
yeah.
There you go. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
all right. And you heard the first, no, maybe you didn't hear the first question earlier, but
No.
tell me if you remember anything about the night before September 11th. You at work, at home? What do you remember doing that night?
Nothing really, just hanging out at home. Didn't go anywhere. Didn't work. Was doing the next day.
And Tuesday morning, September 11th, how did that start for you?
My middle girl, Jackie, said, Daddy, you have to take me to school today. It's picture day. I said, well, get your rear end moving. It's 7:30. I got to be at work at 9. I dropped her off at school at 8. Beautiful day. And came across the outer bridge, Staten Island Highway. As I'm coming up to the top of the Verrazano, I saw the smoke. I said, well, maybe it's a pier fire. Because you would get your pier fires in Brooklyn or Manhattan, and it's all black smoke. And when I got to the top, I saw the North Tower was burning. Put on the news, and they said it was a small plane. Crashed into it. So I got off the Gowanus Highway and went to 201 Engine and make a phone call to 122 truck, saying I was going to be late because it was about 20 to 9. And they're on, where were they, John? 52nd and 4th. Made a phone call, and the one guy who answered said the truck already left. And all the guys that I talked to in 201 that day, they're gone. They responded, they were killed on that particular day. And then got to 11th Street. I was in the engine with Steve Graber. And we knew we were going. It was only a matter of time. And I guess they called us about 10 to 9, 5 to 9, 5 after 9, and we went over there. And I remember Georgie Marsh, our chauffeur, having a problem getting to the Brooklyn Bridge, going the wrong way on the one-way streets because of the traffic leading to the bridges. And I remember when we pulled up to the approach to get on the Brooklyn Bridge, you had a female cop. She had to be no more than 4 foot nothing, and a little three-wheel scooter telling her she can't go on the bridge, it's closed. So Georgie just pushed her out of the way and pushed the cart out of the way, and off we went. And made it through the side streets, through Chambers Street, to the West Side Highway, and picked up Johnny Germain, and he rode the back step. He was on the back of the truck, and we parked. I don't know, about a half mile away, 3/4 of a mile away was the closest we could get. And Captain Graver said, all right, listen, we're gonna walk down. So we each grabbed roll up, 2.5-inch roll up, mask, extra bottle, and yeah, I had my set of irons. And we walked down. Steve said, stay here, I'm going to the command post across the street. And as we're waiting there, you hear the young kids, oh, look at this. And it was the poor souls, jumping. And I didn't want to look because you knew that they were in their last seconds of life. And Steve came out and said, we have orders to go into the South Tower, to the command post in the South Tower. And we walked down to Liberty Street. And with all the debris and everything falling, he says, we'll go alongside half a block south. And as we were walking alongside the Deutsche Bank to go into the South Tower, which is maybe 250 feet if that. That's when, like John said, you heard the popping. And then you just saw the tower leaning, the south tower coming towards us. And we ran. There was Steve, I, two other guys hiding alongside the Deutsche Bank. No place to go, you know, and it was quiet. There's no yelling, no screaming. And the building came down and it was night. And I just said, make it quick, Lord. And we were lucky. Came down, and from what I understand, it registered as an earthquake somewhere in the United States, a 3-point something. And it turned black as night. Everybody started gagging, vomiting, you know, trying to get your mask on. I put my mask on. It was full of whomever and whatever. Then the captain said, we got to find a way out of here. So we found a door. We started banging on it. And like John said, previous to that, we did take the window. It was a thick window, but they had a steel curtain wall behind the window, so you couldn't get in there because it was the bank. So we went around one side of the building, found a door, started banging on it, and people let us in. We were able to rinse our eyes out, rinse our mouths out, and, you know, from there we went. Made a decision what we had to do.
So at that point, you're exiting out to our street, and then the second tower comes down, or what happened with that?
We came out into the street. No, previous to going in there, we were looking for Georgie Marsh, Eddie Plunkett, Mike Schreck. They were caught in the cross street, and they were blown down the block. Mike broke his wrist. Georgie took cover underneath a loading dock, and Eddie, he was blown the other way down the street from the force of the impact, from the wind. And then after we made the decision, we walked to West Street. I guess we got a block down, and you could hear the rumbling. And we ducked into a hotel. And then you could see just a cloud of black again. And people asking, what do we do? I told one lady, cover your baby up and get on the Staten Island ferry and go west. Get out of the city, don't come back. Leave as soon as you can. And then from there, it's just trying to do whatever you're supposed to do, you know.
At any point did it seem unreal, like a movie? I mean, I know you're a fireman, but still, we're desensitized a lot by movies, but did it ever feel like it was surreal or unreal?
It was surreal when I was looking at it at the bridge on the Verrazano going to work to the firehouse. But when we came over the Brooklyn Bridge, they had multiple reports on the radio. You could hear the dispatcher, he was really busy. Reports of X amount of people trapped on the 80th floor, northwest corner, this tower, people trapped on this floor and that tower. It was just, you knew it was gonna be a mess. And the closer you got there, the worse, you know, you looked up and you said, yeah, this is not good. You knew it wasn't good from the start, but the closer you got, the worse it became.
So were you at the firehouse before you went that day, or were you at work inside the station and you got a call to go?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about the call, the alarm?
No, I just said,
3
just
alarm, 4 alarm, 5 alarm?
came over, what was it, Steve, fifth alarm, or fifth alarm in Manhattan, whatever the box was, 80 something something. I don't even remember the box number anymore, but we knew we were going. Because as the crow flies, I think we're maybe 3 miles from it.
But at that point, you didn't know what the incident was, or fire?
Oh, no, you could see it from our firehouse. Oh, you knew the tower was on fire.
So at what point in time did you, trade tower, plane, what time did you figure that out? Or what time did you understand that that's what was going on? Or did you at that time?
No, I did. As soon as I got up to the top of the Verrazano Bridge, you saw the North Tower was burning. I said, okay.
The adrenaline kicks in and it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, when we were getting closer to Manhattan, yeah, the adrenaline kicked in. You know, and you knew you had a long hike up the stairs. You know, and in my case, I figured I was gonna have a heart attack. People were gonna die, firemen were gonna die. You know, because it's a long way to walk up.
So these questions are coming spontaneous, but it's like, so you're approaching this fire and you've been a fireman, you've gone to fires,
Oh,
John
yeah.
referred to the big fire. I mean, what's going through your head like, this is it, man, this is
it, and it's going to take a long time to get to the people. Because with the amount of gear that you have on and the weight that you're carrying, you're not running up 45 flights in 45 minutes. You're not making 80 flights in 80 minutes. It's not happening. It would have taken me at least an hour and a half, 2 hours to get up there.
And at that time, it's the one tower, the second one hadn't been hit yet.
The second one was hit by then, yeah.
Okay, it was.
Yeah.
So what's the forefront thing on your mind? Fire, put out fire, people, evacuate people? What's on, as a fireman, what's your first thought?
You're going up to put the fire out unless directed otherwise. If the captain told us we're there for helping the people down, then you would help them down. Other than that, you bring the water up, the lines up for the water.
Okay, and that's the question I got just as a layman. Where do you hook up to get water? Is it inside the building? Or
It's inside the building. They have standpipes.
So every certain
It's like every floor has a standpipe in the stairwell, in the evacuation stairs. They each have standpipes, and then you would hook up into that. But, you know,
this is just an off the kind of record question, but would you attack a fire in a building that big from the outside, or would you go inside with the hose?
you have to go
You
inside.
can't get anything up that high.
Maybe if it was on the 6th floor.
Helicopter, plane.
No, that's all Hollywood.
No.
You have to attack it from the inside, and even, like John said, each floor was an acre of pure open space, and a 2.5-inch line, which is all you can take off a standpipe, is going to do nothing to put out a fire on an acre floor, an acreage. You're not going to put the fire out. Even with multiple lines, it's not going to happen. And, you know, but you do your job.
I'm not trying to be a fireman here, guys. I'm just thinking now, if you had a plane incident at an airport, jet fuel, what do you use to put out a fire like that? Use foam, or what do they got?
I guess they use foam. We were never near an airport. So I'd imagine they'd use foam.
I'm just thinking of the jet fuel, the
Yeah,
fact that you're burning a building also, so still.
Yeah, it would be foam and just water inside the building. You know, even if you couldn't get the foam up there, it wouldn't happen.
Now, so you guys, you never got inside, start going up, right? You guys
No.
were perimeter, outside, or
We were about
glass area or whatever?
200 feet away.
Like, John, did you hear the pancake thing
Oh, yeah.
happen?
Oh, yeah.
You knew what that was?
Yeah, you looked up and you said, oh, God. And you could see it coming towards you and went down.
Didn't take
And-
very long.
No, but you ran, and it was like we all had it as kids, the dream where the hallway keeps getting longer and longer. The more you're running, the hallway gets longer. That's what it was like, trying to run.
Have you ever watched any of the video footage of some? There's some stuff that was shot.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's like they're running from an atomic explosion, or there's this
Yeah.
gulf of.
I watch it occasionally. Not often, but occasionally.
What about, like I asked John, the fear factor? Is it there at that time?
Was I scared? Of course I was. But you're going in because everybody else is going in. And you were sworn to take care of the people of the city of New York. And you have to do it. And you do it. And we've done it many times over. So you just do what you're supposed to do.
Were you there the whole day, night, next day?
I was there until 2 the following morning.
And then you're relieved?
And then we went back to Brooklyn. Wound up in Methodist Hospital, get my glass shards out of my eyes. And then I got home 11 o'clock the next morning. And stayed out of work for 4 days. Then went back to work and went down to retrieve people.
You were in the recovery effort
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Working the pile, or whatever they call it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you went home that day or night, what's going through your head? I mean, you're sitting there going, wow. I mean, what are you thinking about? What do you...
I was pretty numb. You know, it sunk in as soon as I saw it, but you didn't know who did it or why. But once you found out why, and, you know, the press puts their spin on it, you know, people didn't die there. People were murdered by a backwoods society. And it's not a religion, it is a society. Where I live in Middletown, New Jersey, there is a Islamic center. Islamic Society of Monmouth County. I don't see the word religion in there. So, and that group, the Islamics, they're great people. But that certain percentage, they're animals. I have no use for them. Given a chance, I'd pop them right in the head, put them out of their misery.
Have you served in the military?
No.
But you guys were in a war zone that day, weren't you? I mean,
I'd imagine. I was never in a war zone, so I couldn't tell you, Larry.
well, I'm just saying,
Right.
the attack, innocent people, casualties,
Yeah.
you know, is to me nothing short of a war zone. But now, are you retired now? You're not working you're not working as a fireman right now?
No, I retired 7 years ago.
Okay. Was it medical, or did you just decide?
It was time to go.
Okay.
The young kids were coming on. I was getting too old. And like John said, it's a young man's job.
So how many years did you work?
A little over 23. Had a good time, but I lost my edge after the trade center. You know.
And there were people that, like John, you knew that didn't survive. And
Oh, yeah,
you have some
yeah.
brothers. I mean, it's like,
You know, guys from neighboring companies who were all promoted. You know, guys from companies, our sister company, 105 Truck. They've yet to find them. They were just in the winds, gone. You know, and it's guys you work with, you know, that got promoted, transferred to Manhattan, you know, and they're gone. I personally knew about 40 of them,
wow.
as we all did. But we were lucky.
Does that, at the time or even now, change your perspective of life and death? I mean, how do you look at things now?
I don't let things bother me. Big things don't bother me anymore. Little things, yeah. It should be the other way, but little things bother me. But big things, I don't care. I don't like going in tunnels or over bridges. I'll go through them, I'll go over them, as long as I'm not stuck in a tunnel. You know, when I'm stuck in a tunnel, I don't like that. Or sitting on a bridge, I don't like sitting on the bridges in rush hour traffic.
Can you tell me a story, maybe from, you know, maybe secondhand even, of just some of the guys that were, maybe went up, came down, lived to tell about it? I mean, is there a story that you could tell me? I've heard a few already, but...
Guys that went up and came down, I know of no one. No one. I know the guys from 122 were in the Marriott when the South Tower came down. And by the 105 truck was, the guys from 105 were 20 feet away, John. And all the guys in 122 survived. They were blown out the windows. They all survived, and the guys from 105 didn't. And it was a 20-foot difference. And how and why 122 survived, I don't know.
So did you see any of these thousands of people running out of the towers? I mean, you had to have seen some.
I guess, but I was more intent on looking up and figuring out what we're gonna do.
And I'm just going on what I've heard. I heard 50,000 people escaped the towers. Were there that many people in there to escape?
There could have been, Larry, but I don't know.
Wow.
You know, I'm sure.
How about on a regular day, how many people worked on those towers? 25,000 in each tower or something?
Something like that, yeah, they said 50,000, but the time of day, and I think they said there was about 30,000 altogether in there, in both towers. But
How about the recovery effort? What did you find most difficult about that?
just digging, you know, and you could dig only so far, and then you'd hit steel, and then you'd have to wait for the iron workers to come and cut. You know, we were allowed in stages. You know, you weren't able to go on your own. You worked as a unit. You were assigned to this spot, and that's it. And you dug till you found something or someone, and then you take a break, and then you go back and do it again. And that's it. You know, not much more you can say.
You did that for a few days, a week? Or?
About 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks,
So that
3
was your
weeks.
job? You were assigned to that duty?
In between the firehouse and there, yeah. You go there on your off tours and volunteer, and then you go to work.
Was there always that hope, though, you might find a survivor?
In my mind, no. Not when you have, how many 1,200 feet of steel coming down in concrete, and the only thing that I remember that was identifiable was on the old touch-tone phones. You had the disc that went around the little squares. That's the only thing that survived. There was no carpeting. There was no metal. There was nothing that I saw. It was all obliterated, and the silence was overwhelming. You heard no more of the pass alarms, no more of the sirens going. It was just dead calm, dead quiet. So, in my mind, hopefully God willing, but you had to be a realist. But that's the way I looked at it, and I still do.
Are you a praying man? I mean, is your training to get you through something like that, or is your faith?
Training, it was survival tactics. We ran alongside the Deutsche Bank, and I just, I myself, we were all very quiet. I just said, Lord, make it quick. Because and it did take out a 15-story gouge. The South Tower did hit the building we were alongside of. So I consider ourselves very, very lucky and fortunate. And somebody was watching over us. I'm not overly religious, but people were watching over us.
Well, in combat, it's referenced, there's no atheists in the foxhole. I guess you can ask that. I don't know if it was John or somebody else told me today. It's just, it brought out a spirituality through a lot of people, or a faith that was hidden. All these things came out. There was.
No, I've always gone to Mass. I believe in God, but I truly believe people were watching out for us that day. Why did Georgie go this way on the street? Why did the cop stop us on the bridge? All those little things added up to saving us by a minute. 30, 40 seconds later, we wouldn't be here.
Did you attend a lot of the memorial services too?
As many as I could. I lost count on how many funerals and memorials.
How about 10 years later? Are they still going on? For some of the health issues that are going on, people haven't. Do you still attend services? Do they have a service for somebody maybe that?
Who passes on?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if it's somebody and I can go. I work. So if I'm there, I go to the funeral. If it's somebody I know, I make it a point to get there. And the guys always turn out. The brothers always turn out. So there's no problem with that.
Do you feel like, John, it's important to tell this part of your story? I mean, or for you guys to talk? Do you think it's important as the years go on that we talk?
Yeah, because if you leave it to the press, this has never happened, and it was our fault. And this is just regular people talking to you now. Maybe people will see this down the road, and they might say, hey, maybe there is something to it. Because the way the media portrays it, they're the poor souls and not us. And I totally disagree with the media. And like I said, it was an attack, and they were murderers. They were murders, not attacks. They weren't killed. They were murdered. And that I'll never stop believing that, and never stop saying that.
And how is your life different 10 years later?
Just go to work, keep going, plugging along, do what you have to do. Relatively healthy, so I'm happy. A lot of guys are sick. A lot of guys are borderline sick, so you just keep plugging along and hope for the best. Collect Social Security one day.
What's September 11th this year mean to you, or what are you going to be doing on September 11th?
I'll be going to a Mass on East 3rd Street and Fort Hamlin Parkway in Park Slope. We have a Mass there for the 4A Battalion Chief, his aide, Mikey Pacino, the guys who were assigned to 220, 122, 148, all those guys that got promoted We have memorial mass for them every September 11th, without fail, 10 o'clock.
What's happening at Ground Zero that day?
We're not invited,
That's what I hear.
so I never made it a point to go back there. It's.
You've not gone back?
I've gone by it, but you know, it doesn't hold anything for me to go there. Doesn't do anything for me, so I just stay away.
After this whole event happened, did you dream about it? Did you think about it? Run it through your mind? I mean, how do you?
Not really. I was just, you know, numb. I survived. I had some bad dreams, but not many, but they dissipated. You know, but you still, if you see a plane flying low where it shouldn't be, you wonder. It catches your ear and your eyes. You know, stuff like that.
So I was going to ask you if there's sights, sounds, or smells today that bring back that.
It would bring it back, sure. But there's not a day goes by where you don't think about it. But, you know, a sight or a sound or a smell, yes, of course. Brings you right back.
Would you do it again?
What I did? Oh, yeah, in a heartbeat. I wouldn't change it then. That was my career.
Why did you want to be a fireman? Was it in the family?
My grandfather was a deputy chief way back when they had horse and buggies, you know, but I needed a job. I took the test. I was out of work. My brother's friend told me, take the test. He was a fireman. Took the test and got hired in '81.
Can I ask you what the oath is? John referred to protecting people. Is it like the
You
police
gotta-
officer's oath?
Pretty much, you have to protect the people and the property of the city of New York. And that's what you do.
What did you like most about your job?
Most, the fires and the camaraderie. Firehouse, the fires and the kitchen. You know, that's what I like most about
Did
it.
you say the kitchen?
Yeah, that's where the camaraderie was. And at the fire scene, but back in the kitchen, you'd have your camaraderie. And going out afterwards, playing ball, you know, softball and stuff like that. Picnics. It's like a tight family.
What maybe would you like least or was the hardest part of your job?
Hardest part? Just going out in the morning, you know, 2, 3 in the morning on a false alarm, you know, for nothing. Some kid pulling a box or somebody complaining about something that has nothing to do with the fire department. Stuff like that. That's, you know, where you want to tell them off, but you can't. That part I don't miss.
And did you say there's 14,000 firemen in New York? Did you say that? Or
No, not that many.
No, I think there's about 9,000, 10.
Okay.
There's less now.
Less now, yeah.
One of the few, huh?
Who, me?
Yeah, you're one of the few.
Yeah. Scored well enough on the test, so I'm happy.
Can I ask you what freedom means to you? I asked John that because, you know.
Freedom is to do whatever you want. Not bound by any laws, really. I mean, the laws here are very, very, you know. I've never been to a foreign country where laws are restrictive, where you have to wear a veil, stuff like that. But to do what you want, when you want to do it, where you want to do it, what you want to do for a living, how many kids you want to have, you're not bound by any of those laws. As long as you pay your taxes, you know.
How about the flag? What does the flag mean?
The flag? The flag for me is, that represents people who've died for this country since the Revolutionary War. That's what the flag is, and it's freedom. And we have something that most, 90% of the world doesn't have. You know, 95% of the world doesn't have the freedom that we have. So it represents a lot to me. Yeah.
Anybody in your family serve in the military?
Yeah, my brother did. He was in the Navy. Way back then. And my father was in a merchant during the war.
Merchant Marines?
Yeah, he was a merchant during World War II.
Still alive?
No, he passed away.
So last night, what were you thinking about coming here today? Have you told your story before? Have you sat down and talked before like this?
Not really, just between the guys.
So did they talk you into it? Did you want to do it?
No, John just told me what was going on. I said, well, I said, John, I really don't want to do it because I'm not a veteran. And he told me that, you interviewed a lot of veterans, and, from the Vietnam and World War II, Korea. I'm not one of those guys. I didn't serve my country. And that's what I told him. He said, but you have to. I said, all right, I'll go.
It's weird how we think differently. He hasn't served his country and he's a fireman? Come on. Yeah, man.
No, I'm not a vet. I'm not a vet.
Well, but I feel everybody's got a story. I mean, you may think you've said things that John didn't say. You may have said it differently, but I'm sure there's a lot you probably aren't going to tell me. Just
There's a lot I don't remember.
I'm not after the blood and guts of what happened.
Right.
But just personally, I'm intrigued by our veterans, yourself. Your service to your community. I mean, it's honorable. And, thank you.
Yeah, but I didn't look to get myself killed. The brothers in the military, they know what they're up against. I mean, we do too. But the chances of them getting killed are infinitely higher than us. Infinitely. We're not facing bullets like a cop does. Or a Marine, or an Army, or Air Force and Navy,
You think movies about firemen do a disservice, or do they help?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you don't go around watching all these backdraft movies and stuff and thinking, this is pretty cool stuff, or?
No, that's Hollywood.
Yeah. Just like with the war movies.
Yeah.
It's Hollywood.
Yeah.
Is there a movie out there, a documentary that maybe is...
Not that I've run across. No.
Do you miss the adrenaline?
Yeah. I miss the fires.
When a fire truck goes by today, you hear something, I'll come back and I want to be there.
Yeah.
Like a cop, you've been a cop all your life.
You do. But you can't do it anymore. It's time to let the other guys do it.
Fair enough.
As it was 30 years ago when we looked at the old guys. They were looking at us like a bunch of young punks. So it's time moves on.
One more question. I don't think I've asked anybody this yet, but what should our country learn or know about 9/11? I mean, you mentioned a lesson learned, but what should our country learn? Just like things in the past with wars, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. What should our country learn from what happened 10 years ago?
Never put our guard down. Never. Always keep our guard up. And I don't want to say don't trust anybody, but you always have to keep your guard up in this day and age because you never know who's coming at you. I have a good mind who would come at you, but you can't let your guard down, ever.
Do you think our country's complacent today after 10 years and they care about
Maybe on the outside it's complacent, but I know behind the scenes they're working to keep us safe. But with the freedom, people who are with the WikiLeaks and all that, they're the ones that are jeopardizing the security of this country and of Western Europe and the free countries. They're the ones that are the problems. But freedom being what it is, you can't stop them as much as you like to.
Okay.
That's it.